The war between Pakistan and the Taliban is escalating in ways few expected. What started as a complex alliance has turned into a full-blown conflict, with both sides engaging in fierce battles across the Afghanistan-Pakistan border. With Pakistan's military modernizing its capabilities and the Taliban seizing billions of dollars worth of U.S. weaponry, the situation is more dangerous than ever. But what's really at the heart of this war? Stay with us as we uncover the secrets behind this violent standoff. But what's driving this deadly confrontation? Is it really about power, or are there hidden agendas at play? Stay tuned as we dive into the untold story behind this war and how it could change everything for Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the world. Setting the stage. The border regions of Pakistan and Afghanistan have become the epicenter of a deadly conflict. Tensions are escalating between Pakistan and the Taliban, threatening regional stability and raising fears of a full-scale war. To understand the current conflict, it is important to examine the historical roots of their relationship. Pakistan initially supported the Taliban during the 1990s to counter Indian influence in Afghanistan. However, the dynamic shifted dramatically after the Taliban regained control of Afghanistan in 2021. Pakistan now faces growing attacks from the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, a militant group with strong ties to the Afghan Taliban. Second, historical fractures. The tension between Pakistan and militant groups began to unravel in 2014 when Pakistan launched military operations such as Operation Zarb-e-Azb and Operation Rad-ul-Fasad to eliminate extremist networks in its tribal areas. These operations targeted the TTP and other factions, disrupting militant networks and weakening their influence. However, these efforts came with consequences. The operations displaced tens of thousands of civilians and created a humanitarian crisis that fueled resentment in the region, leaving a lasting impact on the relationship between Pakistan and the Taliban. Third, geographical challenges. The rugged and mountainous terrain of the Pakistan-Afghanistan border has made military operations and border control extremely difficult. The Durand Line, the official border, is porous and poorly demarcated, allowing militants to move freely between the two countries. This geography has been a significant factor in prolonging the conflict. 4. Recent clashes. Escalate. In recent years, violence has surged along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Cross-border attacks by the Taliban on Pakistani forces have prompted retaliatory airstrikes by Pakistan. These clashes have caused significant casualties, including civilians caught in the crossfire. Reports indicate that Pakistani airstrikes have killed dozens, while Taliban-led attacks have resulted in hundreds of casualties among Pakistani forces. The rising toll has intensified the already volatile situation. The Taliban's bold moves. The Taliban, emboldened by their victory in Afghanistan, have strengthened their position. They now possess advanced weaponry left behind by the United States, valued at over $7 billion. This includes rifles, Humvees, and even drones, providing them with significant firepower. Their knowledge of the rugged Afghan terrain and use of guerrilla warfare tactics give them an advantage in conflicts along the border, making them a formidable adversary for Pakistan. 6. The role of regional allies. Pakistan's relationship with China plays a crucial role in the ongoing conflict. China's investments in Pakistan, particularly through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, make regional stability a priority for Beijing. China has offered diplomatic support to Pakistan, urging the Taliban to reconsider their aggressive stance. 7. Pakistan's preparedness. Pakistan has responded to the growing threat by enhancing its military capabilities. The introduction of advanced systems, such as the Fateh II artillery, with a range of 400 kilometers, and the upgrading of JF-17 Thunder fighter jets highlight its readiness for potential escalation. The country has also fortified its border security, increased intelligence operations, and expanded its cyber warfare capabilities to counteract Taliban-led threats effectively. 8. Regional and international implications. The conflict has implications that extend far beyond Pakistan and Afghanistan. India's increasing influence in Afghanistan is viewed as a strategic threat by Pakistan. Meanwhile, major powers like China and the United States have urged restraint, advocating for peaceful negotiations to prevent further destabilization of the region. The international community is particularly concerned that prolonged conflict could create a new breeding ground for terrorism, threatening global security. 9. Humanitarian toll. The ongoing conflict between Pakistan and the Taliban has inflicted a devastating humanitarian toll on civilians, particularly those living in the border regions. As violence escalates, an increasing number of families have been displaced from their homes, forced to flee their communities in search of safety. The exodus from conflict zones has led to overcrowded refugee camps where basic services are scarce and the living conditions are deplorable. These displaced individuals face significant challenges, such as a lack of access to clean water, health care, and adequate shelter. Moreover, the disruption of daily life has resulted in the loss of livelihoods for countless families. Many individuals who once relied on farming, trading, or small businesses are now struggling to survive as their economic activities are paralyzed. The scarcity of resources has compounded the suffering as families are unable to access food, medicine, or other essentials. With the conflict disrupting education and healthcare systems, children and vulnerable populations are especially at risk, facing an uncertain future with limited prospects for recovery. The humanitarian crisis is further exacerbated by the insecurity in these regions, with aid organizations facing significant challenges in reaching affected areas. The difficulty of delivering humanitarian assistance due to ongoing fighting, roadblocks, and the volatility of the region has left many without the help they desperately need. The international community's response, while critical, has struggled to keep up with the scale of the crisis, and as the conflict drags on, the toll on human lives continues to rise. The economic impact. The prolonged conflict between Pakistan and the Taliban has had a profound and far-reaching impact on Pakistan's economy, exacerbating existing vulnerabilities and creating new challenges. One of the most immediate consequences has been the disruption of trade with Afghanistan, as border closures and security concerns have hindered the flow of goods between the two countries. Afghanistan has long been a key trading partner for Pakistan, and the closing of vital border points has had a cascading effect on both nations' economies. The loss of trade routes has hit local communities particularly hard, as many traders and merchants who depend on cross-border commerce have seen their livelihoods wiped out overnight. In addition to the economic paralysis caused by trade disruptions, the ongoing conflict has placed an enormous strain on Pakistan's financial resources. The Pakistani government has been forced to divert substantial funds to military operations, counter-terrorism efforts, and border security measures. The cost of maintaining a large security presence along the Afghan border and conducting operations against insurgent groups has drained state resources, leaving less funding available for other essential sectors such as infrastructure, education, and healthcare. This has put the country in a precarious financial position, further deepening the challenges faced by ordinary Pakistanis. The economic fallout extends beyond the immediate disruptions to trade and military spending. The uncertainty surrounding the conflict has led to a decline in foreign investment, as investors shy away from countries that are seen as unstable or prone to conflict. Pakistan's economic growth has stalled, and the country faces increasing inflation, rising unemployment, and a growing fiscal deficit. Additionally, the ripple effect of the conflict is felt across regional economies, where the instability spills over and creates challenges for neighboring countries that are already grappling with their own economic issues. 11th, potential outcomes. The future of the Pakistan-Taliban conflict remains uncertain, with several potential outcomes, each carrying significant risks for the region. If tensions continue to escalate, there is the very real possibility of a broader and more devastating war, with severe consequences for not only Pakistan but the entire region. Such an outcome could lead to further loss of life, deepened economic instability, and widespread destruction. A large-scale military confrontation could also destabilize neighboring countries, such as Afghanistan and India, potentially triggering a wider regional conflict. However, despite the grim prospects, there is still hope for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Diplomatic efforts, both at the national and international levels, continue to play a crucial role in seeking a de-escalation of hostilities. Negotiations between the Pakistani government and Taliban representatives, while fraught with challenges, offer a potential path to peace. These talks, however, require a delicate balance of political will, trust-building, and compromise from all parties involved. International intervention could also prove pivotal in de-escalating the conflict. Regional powers such as China, Russia. International intervention could also prove pivotal in de-escalating the conflict. Regional powers such as China, Russia, and Iran, along with global institutions like the United Nations, could play a constructive role in facilitating dialogue and providing the necessary support for peace initiatives. The involvement of the international community could help ensure that any resolution is sustainable and addresses the underlying grievances fueling the conflict. Nevertheless, the success of these efforts depends on a range of factors, including the willingness of all parties to negotiate in good faith and the ability to address the root causes of the conflict. The situation remains highly volatile, and there is a need for a comprehensive approach that includes not only military and diplomatic solutions but also efforts to rebuild trust and address the socio-economic disparities that often fuel extremist movements. 12. Closing thoughts. The Pakistan-Taliban conflict is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in geopolitics and the complexities of navigating international relations. It serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked violence and the toll it takes on both individuals and nations. The shifting alliances, power struggles, and competing interests in the region underscore the delicate balance required to maintain stability in such a volatile part of the world. This conflict also highlights the human cost of war. Every day, innocent civilians bear the brunt of the violence, facing displacement, economic hardship, and the loss of loved ones. The future of the conflict is uncertain, and while there is hope for a peaceful resolution, the path to peace remains fraught with challenges. It is a critical moment for regional and global leaders to prioritize diplomacy, cooperation, and dialogue, working together to forge a path to stability. Ultimately, the resolution of this conflict depends on the decisions made by those in positions of power, both in Pakistan and across the region. The choices made in the coming months and years will shape the future of the region and determine whether this chapter in history ends with a renewed commitment to peace or further bloodshed.